actual. Winner is en route to aid with Kazovac.
So it's not the first time we're interviewing Randy Pitchford for TV this year, because Gearbox Software had many first-line high-profile games recently. But first, you've been talking about the Stone Age of video games, right?
Well, yeah, the guys at this event here, they apparently a couple months ago I said something about how I believe that right now we're kind of still in the Stone Age, that the future has so much more in store that when we get there, this will be like ancient stuff compared to where we're going. And so the guys that are running this event, they asked me to talk about that more. And so I just did a talk for the attendees of the show about the idea that right now is very likely the Stone Age of video games, and that the future will make everything we're doing now look very primitive.
Okay. We'll see how aliens look in the future. But now
that's the near future, and it does look amazing by today's standards. I think in the long range, we're gonna want to feel like it's reality, like we're actually in the games, and that will be possible someday.
Okay. So talking about aliens, our UK editor was seeing the first section of the game recently in London, and he was like, I was expecting what was going to happen, and that's why it wasn't disappointing.
Okay.
So it's that the philosophy you're looking for?
Well, you know, there's a lot of fantasy with that franchise, and there's certain things that, you know, it's like an itch that hasn't been scratched ever. You know, ever since we saw the movies, we've always wanted to have that experience, and so to be able to do that experience in video game form is really exciting. And we recognize that it's smart for us to be careful and to respect all the loves and hopes and dreams that we have if we've loved the films. At the same time, though, if you've never seen the movies, then there's a lot that you'll be surprised about. There's a lot of new to it as well. So it's really exciting for both kinds of gamers.
So I guess many people ask you about the Wii U version because the best description on Wii U how specs we have is aliens looks great.
Yeah.
That's and what are the features you're including with the gamepad and what can the Wii U offer to the game?
Right on. Yeah. One of the neat things about the new Nintendo platform is it's a very powerful system. So I think the Wii U version is going to be the best looking version on the consoles. But it also has this neat interface, this neat controller that allows us to do a lot of cool things that are very natural for the franchise. For example, you expect a motion tracker in an Aliens game. Yeah. Well, this time your motion tracker's real. You can actually look down and see it in your hands and move in the world, and it's there in your hands. And when it beeps, because there's a signal, the sound's coming from the controller. So it detects your motion, it's visible in your hands, and you can interact with it by touching the screen. So it's really cool, and that's just one of many features that we have that are natural for the franchise on the Wii U platform.
I guess the game doesn't stop when you're like using those features.
No, everything happens in real time. It's also really cool for status. Like when I'm playing a competitive game online and battling with my friends, instead of having to interrupt my gameplay by bringing the scoreboard on the screen, I can just keep my scoreboard down there and just glance down at it while everything's still happening in real time on the main screen.
So, Aliens has an extended development time, same as let's say Duke Nukem Forever.
No, not quite.
Well,
nothing compares.
They're
to that.
extended.
Nothing compares to that.
Nothing compares to that. In your speech, I don't know if you've touched that point. What can young developers learn from that kind of extended development?
Well, you know, when you have a vision and you commit to it, you really want to make sure you deliver on meet or exceed your expectations for it. So sometimes when we're inventing, it's not as easy to predict how long things take when you're inventing. You know that if you hit things, you'll eventually get where you want to be, but it's hard to predict exactly how long. Having said that, though, it's not our first time we've built new things from scratch. We created Brothers in Arms, we created Borderlands, and in fact, by the time Aliens Colonial Marines ships in February, it'll be about the same development as what it took for us to develop Borderlands 1, and about the same amount of time as it took to develop the first Brothers in Arms game. I think the difference is that the Aliens Colonial Marines game was first announced in a press release before we even wrote the first line of code, whereas typically we'll get all the way through prototypes and into production before we announce a video game. So once that first press release was made, immediately, right, it's like, wow, 20th Century Fox is allowing a sequel to Aliens as a video game, and Gearbox is making it. Suddenly it's a promise, and immediately we just want it. But of course we hadn't even started making it yet, so it feels like a long time.
Next up, Borderlands 2. It looks like impressions and feedback. It's been great so far, for what we can tell. Yeah. Is that your impression too?
We're very excited. We have the game here, and if you walk around the show floor, you'll notice that the line to see Borderlands is the longest line here, and it's not even close. It's not even close, and that thrills us. The thing that's most exciting about it is Borderlands 2 is. It makes Borderlands 1 look like the Stone Age. Let me put it that way. We have done so much to iterate and improve everything that worked, and we built an entirely new experience that's so much grander, so much larger and more valuable than Borderlands was. So we're really excited. And so far, even though it's gotten the great reception that it has, we haven't shown hardly anything. We're just scratching the surface on what we've actually built. So I'm really excited to launch the game this September when people really get to see what we've done.
Great, so that's not the Stone Age. Borderlands 2 is really near future. Then we have Aliens. Yeah. And then the last question, what would Gearbox Software do with Blade Runner?
Oh, well, we don't have any rights to Blade Runner. Brian Martell was once really excited about that as an idea. We had a list of things that we wanted to do, and he went and talked to Ridley Scott about it. And the thing that was higher on the list was Aliens. So that's what we committed ourselves to. And in that conversation that Brian had with Ridley, Scott led them both very excited about the Aliens franchise. And of course, we just got to see Ridley's movie that he made as a consequence of his interest in the universe he created. Prometheus had just come out, and it's a brilliant film. And so I think it'd be cool to spend some time in an interactive game that really built the Blade Runner universe out. I'm not sure that Gearbox will do it. I think if we did, our vision for that would be so grand that we'd probably spend more than we should in terms of the development budget for that, because our vision for that would be so huge. So it might not be the right time for that for us. But man, I hope somebody does something great with it someday, because it's such a wonderful universe.
Let's wait for the future age then.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, maybe someday we'll be living it. Well, I'm not sure if we want that, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there, and a lot of I don't know if you know who Sid Mead is. He's a futurist, but he designed a lot of what the future looked like in Blade Runner, and some of his best works in that film. So a lot of fertile ground there if someone wanted to jump into that.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much
Cheers.
for your time.
Cheers. Cheers.
H.